What's up, bros? Welcome to another Brograph Brocast. I'm Dave.
I'm Matt.
And we've got an episode for you today that is... Yeah, happy holidays. We're going to do one of these shows, even though we don't have too much to talk about. It's a short one.
Yeah.
So, like we always say, it's a short one, and then it's 2 hours. But no, I really think it's going to be short today.
Maybe.
We'll see.
I got a bunch of family over here, so they're like jibbing and jabbing like crazy, so odds are someone's going to... Yeah, I'm literally in my bedroom.
It's funny. They won't leave you alone.
No, I just don't have a door on my office, which is okay.
But they're coming in anyway.
Yeah, they are.
Hey, Matt, what are you doing? What are you doing?
What are you working on? Show me how you do 3D.
Dad, I'm doing a radio show on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I was putting myself in. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah. So happy. What is this? The third or fourth day of Hanukkah? Fourth day of Hanukkah, and then I believe the third day second day of Kwanzaa.
Christmas.
The second day of Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What did your true love give to you today?
Oh, right. Let's see. 3 calling birds.
Oh.
Yeah. 2 French
That's
hens.
boring.
I know. She's gotten me nothing but birds this season.
So
I could really go for a drone.
If you haven't heard this show before, this is a supplement to the site Brograph.com. This is our motion graphics podcast where we talk about all sorts of stuff, everything ranging from motion graphics to Cinema 4D, After Effects plugins, render engines, business, doing taxes, working as a contractor, working for the man, and a lot of things that have nothing to do with graphics are very,
of things
very related. Maybe
yes.
Like we'll talk about Oculus Rift, we'll talk about 3D printing. We'll do some of that today, and this is going to be a little different than normal. We don't have a lot of structured notes per se. We just threw stuff together, and we're in the post-Christmas haze where there's a lot of people not working, but we have projects to work on, so we're kind of just floating through our week.
And there's family in town, and it's like, so sorry we didn't get one out on Monday. Sorry, y'all have had to wait till Tuesday.
Well, see, I bet everybody else is the same way. They're probably just going back to work today, so...
Yeah, that's true. And then they're like, where's my Brograph podcast? What the heck, bros? Where you at?
Dang, bros. Well, guess what? A lot of people don't do a show after Christmas, so...
Yeah, so Merry friggin' Christmas.
Yeah. It wasn't white here either. It was 80 degrees.
I was really worried there was going to be another tornado.
Yeah.
Yesterday marked the 1-year anniversary of the tornado that hit my house the day after Christmas.
Well,
which is awful.
Most likely it wouldn't happen to you 2 years in a row.
I would really hope not.
That would be... I'd be like, you got to go play the lottery or something if that happened.
Yeah.
But,
it was really sweet. They because we moved, the tornado hit, and it was kind of like a whole change in our life after that, and so we ended up moving and selling the house and making a little bit of money and stuff, and but we still have friends in that neighborhood, and it was really sweet. They put lit lanterns, like paper lanterns, all across the street, mark the 1-year anniversary. I don't know, it was really, really nice.
Yeah, I saw a couple things online that were talking about that. It was a crazy night.
Yeah, dude, and they're still rebuilding it, which just sucks. Yeah. They're still rebuilding all sorts of houses and stuff. And one guy has been living in an RV on his plot for a year now.
God.
A tiny RV. I don't know how he does it.
That's crazy, man. Well, yeah, totally warm here. It was 16 degrees last week, and it was 80 degrees for Christmas. It's been up and down, and so it wasn't white, which is also apparently some movie that you have not seen, which I'm surprised.
I haven't seen White Christmas. Sorry.
Dang, dude. You still didn't watch it this year, huh?
Nah. I didn't really watch a lot of movies this year. It's funny, I don't know, last year it was all about Elmo Christmas. With Gibson. This year, we actually watched The Santa Claus 3 times. Popo
I don't think we watched that. Topo Gijo. Oh man.
Anyway,
So
but yeah, I didn't really like. I wanted to watch Elf this season, and I didn't do that one. I
watched parts of it.
Yeah, Pee
So-
Wee's Christmas.
Oh, of
Haven't
course
watched
I'll
that.
watch that.
Yeah.
Watch that. We were talking about whether or not we were going to do our 8-hour episode during this part of the season, but I think the general consensus was that we had some really cool plans and ideas, and that we were going to hold out until we could actually do them.
Yeah,
because we had some cool ideas for that.
Now I don't know if we're going to be able to do this on Skype or whatever. It's going to be tough just bringing random people in on Skype, So we may have to find some other way to do it, like maybe through Twitch or something like that. I don't really know, or maybe we just have audio. I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, but we want to have a fair amount of guests just stopping in.
Yeah.
Being like, hello, welcome to our playhouse.
Yeah, it'll be basically Pee-wee's Christmas special, but with Brograph and guests.
And it won't be Christmas.
Right. Right. So, yeah, man, we had a good Christmas, lots of fun gifts and stuff like that, and we watched the Christmas special, the one that we worked on Christmas Eve. It was on TV over the air here, which was interesting. It's so weird, like you see your stuff on the internet.
I haven't even looked.
You did?
Yeah.
It's weird seeing your stuff on TV. It's still kind of cool seeing your stuff on TV, even though like you'll see it on, like, I don't know, like time shifting stuff, or you'll see it on the internet or whatever. I don't know what is different about seeing it live over the air that makes it so cool, but it
feels. I don't know, like there's something that makes it feel a bit more real,
Yeah,
or
I think
like.
so.
It's weird.
Valid.
Like you can watch it. Yeah, you can watch it on your screen like a whole bunch of times, and I don't know. There's something. There's like some sort of warmness that goes with the TV. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's almost like the compression they put on it, or their subliminal messages that they throw in there. I don't know.
It was the first time that I actually switched my TV over to over the air in a really long time.
Oh, yeah?
When I was trying to find the channel. And the funny part about it is when I did flip it over, it was on the NBC affiliate at first. And the moment I flipped the TV over, it was the graphic that Barton Damer did for the new Mountain Dew games or whatever it is that he was working on.
That's
like
really
the
funny.
second I flipped it over, it was like I was looking for my stuff on air, and instead I saw Barton's.
That's funny. That's really funny.
And so that was good. So we're getting permission to use that maybe in our reel at some point because that one, I mean, I think technically it would be okay, but that's a good one for the reel. Yeah, and
there were a couple of really good shots in there. There were also some poopy shots, but whatever.
Yeah, but there's
you only have 3.5 weeks to do it. 16 minutes of animation,
and not every shot can be like an Academy Award winner.
Yes,
sometimes it just moves the story along. So there's that, and then so here's the deal. I think you talked about you got a Rift on the last episode, right?
Yeah,
we were talking about the games and stuff.
Yeah, and I finally got my hand controllers. I got my hand because I didn't have the hand controllers when
that's right.
When I got the Rift. Finally got the hand controllers, and it's a whole new world. It's incredible. Like, so do you have Pirate Space Trainer?
Yeah, it's fun. You're Han Solo, basically.
Yeah, what's so funny is like all it is Space Invaders. All it is Space Invaders, like a glorified version of Space Invaders. But the fact that you're standing like on this platform shooting little robots and stuff is amazing. Like
it's not just that; it's the types of shooting you can do. Like the little launching grenades and all that.
You know what I like to do?
Fun.
I like to so when you put the thing behind your back and you grab like either the bat or the shield. I like to do double bats. And like just start grabbing each person, bringing them toward me, then smacking them with the bat, and then keep on doing that through everyone and seeing how far I can get.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to play that again. That's one that I kind of played in my first run. and I didn't really get back to it.
It's a really good intro game. Like if you just want to get into a game and you don't want to have them go through the entire robot tutorial and stuff, like that's a really good game just to like start shooting, you know, because it's simple and all you need to know is shoot. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, and so you know we had been playing so much Halo with David Ariev that you know we're finally kind of getting back to Halo, and then he's like, "You guys want to play Halo?" And we're like, "No, we're busy inside of our 3D virtual reality environments right
Rift.
now." Yeah, and it sucks because we're like, "Oh man, now like you know we're gonna be playing this all the time," and so
you know, so David's brought us a bunch of work this year.
Yeah,
you know, he's handed us a bunch of work and stuff, and then Dave and I, you know, we're in VR, hanging out at the sports bar, you know, smacking people over the head with the chairs and causing a general ruckus. And we're talking, and we're like, you know what? We should buy David a Rift.
Yeah, let's just do it. It'll be like a company gift. And, you know, and
tax write-off and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, so we had kind of a hard time with Best Buy getting it all set up, but we told him, hey, we got you this game that we like that we want you to play with us. It's kind of a Christmas present, but you have to go do your Best Buy pickup in store at your local Best Buy.
Yeah, sorry about that. You got to go a little bit out of your way in order to pick it up.
And so he gets there, and they're like, okay, here's your Oculus Rift.
That's funny.
And so he seemed pretty stoked about that. I was like, man, he's really been talking up that HTC Vive. I hope he likes this instead. Yeah. But, you know, at least we'll be able to play the games together this way, you know. And
and we played we played a couple of the shootout games and stuff. It was fun.
Yeah.
I'm the best.
You know, it's funny. What's really funny is how like at Halo, like we're all differently matched, I guess. And then when we flip games to other things, we're matched in another way. But we were playing the shootout stuff, and we were playing in the pool hall and all that. David and I played checkers the other day in the virtual bar. I mean, we know how to get down.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Partying.
See, totally. You know, they've got the carnival games and they've got like the pool and skee ball stuff. It just doesn't feel that like where I would normally let go of a ball or something like that. It just doesn't react, you know, 100% naturally.
You really have to do it different.
Yeah, you have to do it well.
I do a lot of,
and I've also learned like don't throw things with my left arm, because I can't do that in real life, so I can't do it in VR. So like anytime I'm playing like super hot VR or something and throwing ninja stars and stuff, you know, I always got to switch it over to my right hand.
Well, that's the thing too, is that then we all discovered Super Hot.
Oh, Super Hot VR.
Oh my God.
It's the best game I've ever played. Next to Bullet Train is pretty amazing.
Well, I see when Bullet Train comes out, it will be like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Super Hot VR, basically, it's I think there's a version of it like just to play online, you know, but it's like it's almost like VR was made for this game, you know, like this game was made. Yeah. So basically, anytime you move, time moves. You know, and so like you're reaching down to grab guns and stuff like that, and then guys are coming after you, and you've got to be able to kill all the guys first, right? So then you've got to go get through like a set of like one whole level, which is like 5 different scenes, and if you get shot or get punched or something like that, it shoots you all the way back to the beginning, and then you do it over and over and over again, and so you get really good at like the first few levels. Like my favorite one is the one with the 2 knives that you basically grab, and you've got a guy on each side of you coming after you, so you just grab it and you just don't even look and just go wah!
And I like
the one
that I'm
where
there's
sound
like,
effects.
The one where there's 2 shotguns and you pick them both up and go on each side of these pillars.
Yeah.
And the thing is, at the end of that one, it's this really tough area where they're shooting at you and you have no way to get them. You just have to avoid everything for a
Bullets,
really long
yeah.
time, and it's really difficult because they're hitting you with shotguns.
Uh-huh.
So you got 3 people with shotguns blasting you with bullets, and so you're trying to go. If there is
there's
a
like
secret,
10 bullets on each shotgun, so you've got to avoid
Yeah.
all of them.
but if you go slow enough, here's the secret to it: if you move slow enough, time will not move. Did you realize that? Did you figure that out?
I didn't notice that. No.
So if you got a bullet coming toward you and you can't figure it out, you have to go extremely slow, and it will not move.
Yeah.
And you'll get around it. But what's cool about some of these levels like that, like you said, is like you feel like a badass because when you get back and you play those levels over and over, you know exactly what's coming and when. It's almost like you're psychic.
Yeah.
You know,
I like
and
it when
when
you shoot someone and their gun flies out of their hand and you're just like reaching for it and
grab
like pshah, poo, poo, and then shoot them like a bunch of more times just to show them how bad at you are.
Man, it's so crazy, dude. It is like being in the Matrix and like, man, you feel like, and then you get done and then, you know, everything that you throw falls into pieces, crumbles, and shatters like Veroni fracture. So like, like when you finish and you killed everybody, and you have a gun in each hand, you can like throw your guns out of each hand and they cross each other and they'll both hit each other in midair and smash in slow motion, and you just feel like such a badass. But
yeah, it's totally true.
and the premise of the game too is that when you're doing this, you're kind of in VR within VR, and it's really funny because I wrote on Facebook that I was at a virtual pool bar with you the other day, and EJ Hassenfrost is like, yeah, well, I'm not going to be impressed till, you know, you tell me you were in VR, inside of VR, like VR Inception. And I'm like, all right. So then we start playing the Super Hot, and that's the premise of the game is you're a hacker. You're an elite hacker, and you're inside this room, and you put in the disc.
Elite hacker.
And then you pull, and then you take your hand and you pull down the VR helmet and you put it on.
Yeah.
So you're going into VR within VR.
Yep.
And so I wrote him back. I'm like, all right, well, you told me to get back to you whenever I did that, and I did. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that is the best game. And you know,
super hot.
Yeah, when you hit that super hot, when you get it, it's like the best feeling in the world. Like, yes, I accomplished everything. No.
It's funny.
So yeah, that's if you guys have an Oculus Rift or whatever and you guys want to play, you know, hit us up. My username is MC Milstead, Milstead. That's mine on Xbox and everything as well.
Somebody did hit us up about playing on the Rift already.
Oh really? That's right. Yeah.
And we need to add him because we didn't get a chance to do that yet. So we need to add him, and then we need to play some Halo with Sage. What's funny is Sage is now behind. Now that he's got Halo, now we're doing the VR stuff, but we'll be playing.
Sorry,
Halo
Sage,
too,
you're gonna have to get a Oculus, and you're gonna have to get a computer that will run it. But then once you get that computer, then you can start running some Octane stuff.
That's true.
There you go.
Of course, he might be able to do it now. He just might not have the right brand of card.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Can you do it in non-NVIDIA cards?
Yeah.
Cool.
The Rift. Yeah. Totally.
Sweet.
So. What else we got? Oh, so I played a couple other games that were pretty cool. One of them I thought was really cool, but then I played Super Hot, so I stopped playing it. But it's a free one where they're going to be adding stuff to it, but you got stuff after you, like a lightsaber and stuff. But there's a cool little level in there where there's all these kind of like dudes after you in this.
What game is that?
I forget the name of it. It's like something. It's like geometry. No, I forget what it's called. Anyway. It's free, but there are these dudes after you, and you're running through this like dystopian Egyptian maze type thing, and you can hear them. You can hear the footsteps coming after you, and you're transporting around in this one, so you're moving around. But they're coming after you, but you've got like a bow staff type thing, and then you're doing, you know, you're shooting them and stuff. It's pretty fun. If you haven't played Super Hot, it's pretty fun. I guess. But then I played this other one the other day. It's a sit-down game. It's I forget the official name of it, like Mission to Mars or something like that. But this is basically it's a beta. I think there's going to be a full version of it eventually. It'll update. But this is a game that is like the movie what's the name of the movie?
The Martian.
The Martian.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's actually made by those people. And so they have permission, of course, to use clips from the movie in it. So you're sitting there and you configure everything and for your body, and you turn on the configuration, and the suit comes on, and you're inside of the suit, and you've got your helmet around your face and your gloves and your readout on your wrist and the whole thing. And it really feels like you're in the suit, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. But whenever you play the game, it shows clips of the movie. Like it shows Matt Damon doing different things, and that's kind of how it moves the game. It shows the different parts of the movie, and so you have to do these different things. Like there's a storm coming, and you have to load these solar panels onto something, and there's another one where you have to drive a rover. That one might make you slightly sick, but it's not too bad. There's something about being in a vehicle that's moving, as opposed to just regular movement, that is not as bad, because just like being in a car, like the stuff around you isn't moving. Yeah. So it's not as bad. And the best part about it is the end. If you haven't seen the movie, this is gonna be a spoiler, so skip ahead for 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay, you got exactly 1 minute.
I got exactly 1 minute. Okay, the end of the movie, where
Matt Damon dies
out of the, where you're floating out of the capsule. And then you're having to poke a hole in your glove and use the air to navigate yourself to the ship. You have to do all of that, which is really cool.
That would make me so sick.
It's not bad. That part doesn't make you sick at all.
Oh, okay.
That's not bad at all. When you're in space, there's not a lot of other stuff moving, so it's hard to tell. Okay, so we're about at the minute mark. I can't talk about that anymore.
Okay.
All right.
Matt Damon dies.
No. Oh man. No, but that's the
he chokes on a potato.
That's a really cool movie. And it's a really cool book, and it's a really cool game now in VR.
Yeah.
So I recommend to check that out. So
cool.
Let's move away from Rift stuff. Let's talk about some other stuff. We've got some
Should we talk about DFW C4D?
Yeah,
I think we should at least mention it.
We should start mentioning it.
We don't have an official date, but what the day that we're thinking. So
the second.
Basically, right now we are.
February.
Thank you, Dave. We're working on we're bidding for a project, and if it happens, then we're bringing David in to run on-set VFX supervisor or something like that. So we're bringing him into town, and we thought that would be a perfect opportunity to do this DFW C4D, the next meetup. And so if everything goes as according to the schedule that they've put out, then we're looking at about February 2nd. So mark your calendars tentatively. We'll let you know once it's for sure. But yeah, February 2nd is when the next DFW C4D meetup is going to be, and special guest speaker David Ariev. And I don't know if we're gonna try and get EJ out or not. I don't know. That was a thought that we threw out there, but I don't know.
I think we are.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we need to mention that to him.
Yes, we should probably do that pretty soon.
So
the thing about the second is we just have to make sure that the place we're going to reserve is free, but I'm pretty sure they will be. So.
I'm pretty sure they will be, and we won't have to worry about awful air conditioning.
Yeah, and so we've got to start getting on the ball on that, I guess. We got to start putting stuff out on the mailing list, because there's a lot of people on the mailing list now, and we've got the previous attendees and all that. So we're going to start moving that along. So, but just if you're in the DFW area, just keep that in mind.
Or even a couple hours away from DFW.
Yeah. Oklahoma isn't that far.
Louisiana, Arkansas, Alabama, Alaska. Sorry, go ahead.
So the other stuff that came up this week is we had Dropbox issues.
Gosh,
which were awful.
Again?
No, this is different. These
are completely different Dropbox issues, but still, it's like I haven't been able to get away from the Dropbox issues for almost like 2 months now.
Your issues were all related to your computer, like I said.
That's what you keep on saying, but
Yes.
I highly doubt that.
They
Yeah,
didn't
it's
affect
because I'm
us.
using a Mac.
No, it had to do with the database getting screwed up on your computer.
Nah, it's because
Which
I'm using a Mac.
That is what the problem was. But the thing is that they were upgrading their business side of their system with this team folder thing that they have, and which wouldn't be a big deal, except we had renamed our folders, our team folders, to something on purpose, and we were sharing them with clients. We were sharing like these giant, multi-terabyte folders with people, and they just, arbitrarily, number one, put the folders back in the root, but then...
Because we keep all of our folders, all of our shared folders in one shared folder.
Right. And number two, they had changed the name back to, Nexus Team Folder or whatever we had it called, and not, the name of our client was shared and all that stuff on it. So that broke everything. And then on top of that, everything that we had within that folder, we had a whole bunch of stuff selective sync turned off. So it wasn't flooding our hard drives. And they turned it back on. Except it was still marked as off. It was just a horrible, horrible mess, right?
Yeah.
So we finally got it worked out, and then we realized some things about Dropbox that we didn't know. Number one is that...
I think they actually changed this. Because
I
I'm pretty
looked, and I don't think they did. I think we just...
misunderstood.
I think it was worded in a way that didn't make sense, because they said when we signed up that it was 5 terabytes of space, and as long as you have 5 users, and... We figured
we thought that meant 5 terabytes per user.
Right, exactly. But what it really means is that you get 5 terabytes total. Now, it doesn't mean that's the limit. That's just what you start with. And Dropbox has a policy that if you are beyond 75% of that you can actually say, hey, I need more space, and they will do it. They'll add a terabyte to it for you every time you're beyond 75%. So...
Which is nice.
Which is nice. The thing that I don't like, though, is that, say you have a team folder, and in our example, we had, 600 gigabytes in this team folder at the time. Everybody that has access to that team folder gets those 600 gigabytes. Not did I say terabytes? Gigabytes.
I have no idea.
Now, the thing about it, too, is that you cannot selective sync those folders or anything within them in a team folder if you're on that account. So, for example, our client has it, we have it, any other account that we open with it under our 5 users also has that. So, like, we have an account that we opened up called Archive, whereas that's where we throw our old projects into an archive just to have another copy of it, and that goes onto a giant hard drive that is just for that. And I have a copy of one, you have a copy of one, so then we have these drives.
I still need to take it out of the package.
Well, we don't really have it set up yet, technically. But the thing is that 600 gigabytes is counted for everybody. So what happens is, right out the door, if you have the 600 in there times 5 people, all of a sudden you have this massive amount of storage against your quota. And so I told him that. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense, because you're telling me that I have whatever it is, 3.5 terabytes of information on my account right now, taking up space, when really
all
it's
because
only 600.
every single person has that same 600 gigabyte file,
I'm
which
like,
is so stupid.
It's so stupid, and it's the same thing. Like, if somebody is sharing a folder with you, it shouldn't count against your quota. It's not counting against. It's not taking up any more space on their side.
A team, especially if you're working as a team.
Because what does that matter? It's the same folder for everybody. It's exactly the same material, and it doesn't take up more space on their server. It's not like they have 5 copies of it.
Right.
So, I don't know. They just didn't understand. I sent them some stuff on that, but they're like, okay, we're going to increase your account. So we got the mess done. We finally got the files back. All the broken links and the whole deal. And then on Christmas, on the 23rd.
It was either Christmas Eve or Christmas. No, it was either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. Oh, okay, never mind.
They were like, they all of a sudden they billed our card for the month on that day, and they switched it back to 5 terabytes from the 7 that we had. So everything came to a screeching halt, and it's after hours. I called. You can't get in touch with anyone after hours. I was replying to the old support thread where I told them I needed more room, and they gave it to me. I started a new support ticket. I was getting on Twitter and doing stuff to Dropbox and Dropbox
anytime
support.
there's an angry something, no, never mind. I do it too.
You do it all the time, especially with Dropbox. And so I was going through every possible channel I could think of to get in touch with Dropbox and say, hey, you got to put our quota back up. And I even went on their website where it says, hey, if you want more storage, you just have to do this online permissions thing to get from, as the admin to ask for more space. Click here to go to that page. And you go to that page and it takes you to another page that doesn't have that listed. And it says for more information, click here. And you click there and it takes you back to the first help page. And it's just an infinite loop. And I'm like, okay, this isn't what they say it is. So this is wrong as well. And so I went through all of that. And every day I would send something on Twitter and a reply to the support ticket. Where are you guys? Where are you guys? Where are you guys? I know it's Christmas, but you guys have to have some sort of support going. It's not Christmas for everybody in the world. You must have support people for all those other places in the world, like that aren't celebrating Christmas. Like, what is going on? And I got nothing back.
Yeah.
And I finally had to call in on Monday morning and say, what is going on? They're like, well, Christmas, and I'm so sorry. On all these calls, they just keep saying, yeah, I'm so sorry about that. I'm like, I don't want you to say you're sorry. I want you to, fix something. I want you to do something. I want you to tell me how you're going to fix that. And in the end, they finally fixed it, and then they got us back up to 7 terabytes. And then we're already at like 73% of that 7. And I'm like, you got to give me 8. And they're like, well, I'll have to get special permission. And I'm like, okay. So they did that. They got special permission. I said, I've had so much trouble. I've spent probably 6 hours fixing files. Yeah. And I pay $75 a month for the service. And I charge that much every hour. So, you owe me like 6 months of service at this point. And all I'm asking for is maybe you just, don't charge me this. Just give us a month for free. Yeah. Well, I don't really have the power to do that. I'm sorry. I wish I could. I'm like, well, who does? Yeah. Obviously, somebody probably does there. Just like, no, there's nobody who could actually do that. I'm like, are you serious? And so as soon as I get off I'm like, that's ridiculous. I'm like, I'm thinking about getting another service over you guys, and you guys won't even fix this for me. You guys should have the power. Customer service people should have the power to do those kinds of things.
Or that's at least transfer you to someone who can. You know?
But that's what makes it customer service, is giving your support people the power to do things. And, like, say, I'm sorry that this has been such a big deal. We'll go ahead and give you this month for free. Like, that is what most places would do, right?
It's just no skin off of their back, you know?
It's not a big deal. They could do that for us for all of our trouble. And so they couldn't do it. So immediately I get a survey from Dropbox. How satisfied are you? And I'm like, very dissatisfied, like the 0. And why? And I told them all the reasons, bad service, screwing up files, the whole gambit. And so it's just something, it's just a learning experience for Dropbox. If you use Dropbox, that's some more clarification on how the business end of it works. And I don't know, unfortunately, a better solution. Although this was a really bad situation in this case, I've had Dropbox for years and years and years without any issues. You know, and I'm trying not to let that spoil it. I started searching. At first, I thought there was a Dropbox issue, and I started searching Twitter for Dropbox, just to see if other people were having problems. And what came up consistently in that was people that were saying, I'm switching back to Dropbox because I went to Google Drive and they lost all of my files.
Oh gosh.
Like, I saw a lot of that, and I've never heard that with Dropbox. And even Chad Ashley on Twitter was like, sounds like you need to switch to Google Drive. And I'm thinking, I didn't get a chance to respond back, but I don't know.
I've looked into it, but I don't really know. Like, I don't know how well it seamlessly works with sharing files and stuff like that.
Well, and you think customer service is bad with Dropbox? Try Google.
Yeah. Dude,
Try
I'm surprised
getting
you
a
were
hold of
even
anybody
able
at
to
Google.
find a phone number for Dropbox because I wasn't able to.
If you're on the business page, you click on help, you can call them. There's a number and there's a PIN number as a business that you give them for support.
Word.
But again, it's like, I've had problems with Google things in the past, and there is no way to get in touch with anybody.
Yeah.
And the only way you can get support is going into these forums and hoping that somebody reads it.
Jeez.
It's awful. I cannot imagine having to deal with this with Google. It would just be a nightmare.
Yeah.
As much as we rely on it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Dave, did you get any good presents for Christmas?
I did. It's the future.
It's the future.
It's the future. I'm currently, right now, watching remotely from the other room, watching a thermal imaging camera stream my 3D printer as it works.
Nice.
I put it in the other room, A, so the plastic smell vents out the window, and B, so that you don't hear it while we're doing the show.
How intense is the plastic smell?
It's not bad.
Yeah?
It's really not bad.
Does it smell like you just accidentally left something in the dishwasher and it got too hot?
It's kind of like that.
Okay.
Not bad. Not bad at all. So there, people say that it's not that bad for you, but you should let it vent.
Yeah.
You just don't want to inhale that stuff constantly all the time. Like if you print one in the same room once, it's not the end of the world, but if you're printing a lot, you don't want to be around it all the time. So we have a spare bedroom with just it's always like the crap room. It's the craft room, or it's the wrapping presents room, or the spare bedroom, whatever. And so I'm just going to leave it in there, because what's cool about this is that you can print stuff off an SD card. So
that's super
cool. It doesn't
cool.
have to be hooked up to anything.
That's super cool. And what's the app that you bought?
Okay, so I guess I'll start from the beginning and talk about this, because as a 3D artist, this is an interesting process, because
Patrick Goski talked about this, I believe, didn't he? About printing off, like getting a 3D printer and making your own little characters and being able to actually print them off. And it's
he may have just told you that in person. I don't remember that from the show.
Oh,
maybe I'm mistaken.
I think he said it on the show. I don't remember.
Well, the thing is, the funny part about this is I was doing research for this, about which one I wanted from Santa. And when I was doing the research, there was one of them that came up, and they had this picture of Matthias and Patrick using it at the Maxon booth.
That's hilarious.
I was like, oh, that's funny. I was like, I know those guys. So like, I looked into that one. That was like a little micro one, and I was really just trying to do my research. A lot of videos out there show the process, and they show people who do reviews on stuff that they've tried themselves. There's one in particular that really helped me to decide, because he was talking about how you really don't want to go with something like the big brand names, the MakerBot and all of that stuff, because they're extremely proprietary, not in the software, but in the parts and stuff, like where it's really hard to get them worked on. You've got to send them there specifically. You can't find a part to fix it yourself, that kind of deal.
Could you 3D print your own printer now?
Actually, there are kits out there that you can build your own, and it comes with all the metal pieces and all that, and the plastic. But then after you build it, you can just order the metal pieces and just print the other pieces.
Could you, like, if I wanted some, could I just order the metal pieces and have you print the other pieces?
If I had that kit, yes, but I don't have the. I mean, maybe if you sent me those files, I could probably do it for you. I thought about doing that.
Download a car, would you?
Yeah. Well, actually, yes, I would.
In a heartbeat.
So when I built my Elecraft X3 transceiver, I actually went through a similar process. It's the version where you buy the stripped down, unbuilt version yourself, and you build it when you get it.
Is that your ham radio?
Money. Yeah. Okay. I have ham radio.
All right.
So there were a couple different things I was looking for. Number one, I wanted it to, I didn't want to buy one that was too cheap. And there are some decent ones out there for $3,000, $500. And when I was looking through them, the one thing that I noticed, because I had picked my brand, which is FlashForge. I had already picked my brand, but I was looking through, and a lot of the lower end ones for $400 or $500 only do PLA plastic, which is extremely environmentally friendly, but it's very soft. If you don't ventilate it right when it's going, like it can actually melt in the tubes that it's coming down.
Oh, geez.
And get soft in there and really gunk things up. So you have to be careful with that. And
do you have to clean those things?
There's some cleaning involved, but the tubes are pretty much okay. It just depends on which one you get. So, like the low-end FlashForge only did PLA, and I wanted to do other stuff. So, and mainly I wanted to do ABS plastic, because ABS plastic, while it's not as environmentally friendly and biodegradable, it is something that you could put in your car and leave it there. It's what your dashboard and all that stuff is made out of.
Right.
You know, car radios and stuff aren't made out of PLA because they just melt in the Texas sun. You know, so I wanted something that would do that, and it does other metals too. Other materials, including some metals like certain types of copper and brass that will do.
Cool.
Which, you know, that could be really cool. You can make little brass figures and stuff.
Yeah, that would be rad.
It does. This one in particular also does the dissolving support material.
What is that?
So this is a dual extruder, meaning that it has two nozzles on it. So if your projects aren't that wide, you could actually do two of something. You have a reel on each side, a spool of material on each side. The other nice thing is that if you're doing what I did, like the test cone that I did the other day, it'll switch inks, so to speak. So it did a red cone with white stripes in it without me having to stop or do anything.
Okay. I was wondering how you got the two different colors, whether it automatically, like, if you load a whole bunch of colors and it just, like, grabs and chooses when it knows what it needs, or...
Yeah,
okay, so because you only... So you can only actually do two colors at a time.
Two colors, or if you want to print, you know, something in chunks, you could put it all together later, you know, and glue it together and then kind of sand it down or whatever. But what is really cool about this dissolvable material is that you put a dissolved material in one and you put the plastic in the other, and you can use it for support structures. So if there's something that needs a lot of support as it's building, you can make the second material the support structure, and once you're done, you dunk it in water and it dissolves.
Neat.
And all that's left is the plastic material from the other extruder.
That's how long does it take to dissolve?
It doesn't take that long from what I hear.
Interesting.
And
it's actually made of cotton candy.
Yeah. And from what I hear about it, my print just finished actually. Nice. Let's pull it down. So what I hear about this though is that
you can't even focus now. You're so excited about going over there.
It was beeping weird, and I was like, oh, it was just saying it was done. So if you could make, for example, like a little enclosed thing with gears inside of it, right? And you use that dissolved material inside of it to kind of hold everything together while it prints, and then you dump that thing when you're done, and all of a sudden you have something with moving gears in it. That's super cool. That was completely printed at once. You didn't put it together in pieces like you know. There's gears inside of the plastic where you'd never be able to get them inside. Yeah, you know, because it prints it in layers. Those gears are somehow inside, and they're completely sealed. You didn't put two pieces together to seal them in. You didn't screw it together. You'll never be able to get inside of it unless you pull it apart.
Has your whole train of thought like changed now? Like, ooh, what can I 3D print in order to make my life more efficient now?
Totally.
And I feel like that's all I would think about.
That's what I've been thinking. And like, here's the reason I picked the Creator Pro, because there's one that's like a step above, like the Dream Maker or something like that. And everything I read about it said that it's made out of, the whole thing is made out of plastic, whereas this one is made out of metal. And the other thing is that it only uses their software, not the open source stuff. So it's completely proprietary. And I mean, there's a couple more things that it can do, but really all the forums and stuff I read on it makes this one sound like it's a little more versatile. And I like that, because being on a Mac most of the time, I really didn't want to hook this up to the PC I didn't want to have to pull out one of my old PCs here and have it like just for this.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be able to work with the Mac, which it will, but I don't need it.
Yeah, because you can just run everything off the SD card, right?
Right. And now to get to the SD card, you have to have a specific kind of file. Not only do you have to do STL files, but you have to have this, I think it's called an X3G file, and it has this special code that goes with it. And in order to create that code, there's a bunch of stuff you have to do if you're using their software, which their software is the what is it called? Maker G? No, I forget what it is.
No idea.
Something G software, but it's open source software where you can get all the code off the internet. But it's very, very techie looking, stripped down, like bad user interface. There's lots of COM port setups and all that kind of crap to create the code. And I started doing some research, and there is, I'll post this in the show notes. There is, what's the guy's name? Nick Livendag.com. He actually is someone who does Cinema 4D stuff, and he had a really brief but informative blog post that he did about creating stuff to print, especially coming from Cinema 4D. And this is a really interesting process because using open source software, you have a lot of options. He first of all talks about using Cinema 4D to create something, put your pieces together, bool them, or do whatever you're going to do, to get it set, and you've got to get the scale right and all of that, right? Well, he talks about how to get it to the printing process. First of all, you don't want pieces on the inside.
Okay. Yeah.
And was it? I don't think it was Dan Pierce. No, it wasn't Dan Pierce. It was my mind is blank right now. He did the VR stuff, I think.
At NAB last year.
He was talking about the plugin called Magic Merge, and it's the Nitro guy who do the Nitro Blast and all that other stuff. And they do Nitro Blast. I think they do the water plugin to make water.
Hot 4D.
Do they do that too?
I don't know.
I don't know if it's the same people or not. And then they also do Magic Merge, and that basically takes everything that you have selected and creates like a shell, and it gets rid of all those inner pieces.
Nitro4D.com.
Yeah, so that they don't have like a bunch of stuff to print on the inside. That would be pointless, right? And so you do that, and you make the shell. You save the STL file, which is easy to do. It's just right out of Cinema. And once you have that STL file, you have that model, but you really need to get it set up for print. And I was reading his blog, and he was talking about this program, and I absolutely love it. It's called Simplified 3D, and it is an open source piece of software that allows you to get your stuff set up to print. And once it's ready to go, all you do is load the files onto the card and just pop the card into the printer in another room and just hit go. It's really that simple.
That's awesome.
But what's cool about this is you import that STL file, and it plops it down. It asks you what kind of printer you have. It plops it down. It knows the size of your plate. It knows everything about your extruders and all that information because it's programmed in, and it's open source. So you get it in there. You can rotate. You have controls and everything like you would in Cinema 4D. Rotate and scale and do all this stuff with your print. But you should have your scale done before you get to this point. But then when you go to the processing, this is where I want to learn more. My buddy has done this. He's a teacher at a high school that has those tech classes like what do you call it?
I don't know.
Like where you learn about robotics and all of that.
Yeah,
so
I never took any of those classes.
Neither did I, but they have 3D printers in those classes, and he knows a lot about it. So he said there is this 3D printing podcast you should check out. So I'm going to check that out. But when you go to the printing process, you get to say the profile of your printer, what material are you using. So you get to say ABS. It knows a little bit more about it. It lets you select your print quality. So if you're doing like kind of a quick mock-up just to kind of make sure some pieces are correct and the right measurements, you can do that so it goes quick. And then it has stuff like your infill percentage. And the infill is the stuff that goes in the middle to give it a structure, because you don't want to fill the whole structure with just complete plastic, because it would kind of be a waste.
Yeah.
Because this stuff is really strong and you're just going to be wasting money.
Yeah.
So you can say your infill percentage, do you want 0%? Do you want 100%? And that kind of determines how much of that stuff is used inside. And if you don't need that much support inside, you don't need to use all that plastic. I started with 20%. I did the little cone that's on the card as a primer, and then I chose a gear in Cinema 4D, and I said I'm going to take this gear from the Cinema 4D library all the way to an actual piece. And I went through and I did 20%, and I made this gear at 20%, and it's just a couple millimeters tall, but I just wanted to see if it would work. And it turned out great. It really looks great. It's so solid. I mean, it has some really thin pieces in it, and you cannot bend it.
Does it? Now, do you have to sand it? Because I've seen prints come off of like the MakerBot stuff that just looks like segmented.
Right.
Right.
That's your resolution right there. For one, you've got print quality in this case.
How high can you go on resolution?
I forget.
Does it just mean that it slows it down, like the print?
Well, it will take longer for each layer, if each layer is smaller. But yeah, that's the thing about some of the cheap ones too, is that the resolution isn't as good. That's why I decided to go with this one. Because this is a higher, it's a little over middle grade, and I figure if I get the $500 one, I'm going to be disappointed I didn't spend the extra $400 to get something a little bit better.
Yeah.
And so I got this too for that reason. The resolution on this is really good. You can barely see the layers. It's not enough to make a difference. You know what I mean? You could sand this if you needed to, but some of this stuff you don't need to. I'm not sure how ABS actually sands, if it sands well or if it looks a little crappy.
I mean, you could sand anything, really.
Well, yeah, but then it might not look great. That's kind of what you deal with. And PLA actually might be better at sanding because it's a softer plastic. I don't know. So this is why I need to listen to that podcast. I'll probably learn a bunch of stuff.
What's the name of the podcast for listeners?
I'll have to look it up and see. And I'll put it in the show notes.
Okay.
So the thing about the infill too is that in the infill, this program specifically will ask you what kind of infill pattern you want. So you can say rectilinear, triangular, wiggle, honeycomb, fast honeycomb, full honeycomb. You can do the external fill, which this is interesting too. This actually builds a shell around what you made to help in the building process, because if you just make something on its own, a lot of times the extruders will ooze plastic, and you'll get a lot of mess that ends up dripping on certain parts just because that's the way it's built. The extruder comes along and just the act of building it will make some mess, that maybe a little bit drips down the side or something. So this makes the shell around it, and every time it has to do something, it goes off to the side to its little shell. That's kind of just a crap shell that you can break off when you're done, and that's where all the mess goes.
Can you reuse any of the mess?
I don't think so. I want to say I've heard of some things where you can like melt down your mess and reuse it. And I think I've heard of stuff too where you can actually take old Coke bottles and all sorts of junk and melt it down and make your own filament.
That would be cool.
It seems like a lot of work and a lot of fumes.
How much is the filament?
The filament, I can't remember exactly. It comes with two, and my brother gave me one for Christmas that's black. I figured I would want black ABS.
Yeah.
And I want to say it's like $25 for quite a bit.
Yeah.
They come in kilograms. And what's cool about the this program in particular, the Simplify 3D, is that when you're all set, you say prepare to print. And it sits there and it calculates it based on what you have set it at. And it talks about the speed and how fast it's going to go, and it actually puts a color coat around the whole thing with the speed, how many millimeters per minute it prints. And the color code shows on your model like a gradient of what takes longer and what is faster to print on the model. And so you get the percentages, and it actually shows on the printer and creates a playhead where you can hit play and watch it play through.
That's
and
cool.
You can, it's 3D, so you could go like a little bit through the print, and you can zoom in and rotate around and see what it's going to be doing where and why, and what the other stuff will look like. And it gives you a status that says the build time, which the printer doesn't. It only does percentage, which I think it should say the build time, but it doesn't. It tells you the filament length, how much it's going to use, the plastic weight, how much it's going to weigh when it's done, and the material cost.
That's cool.
So
the cost is cool. That would be nice to be able to see that before you actually print it.
So what I'm doing right now, again, because then you could say begin printing over USB, and you could click and print, or you could say save these toolpaths to disk, and you just put it onto the SD card and pop it in. So what I'm working right now is this thing that's for my car. I have always wanted to have a mount that's not on my windshield, but next to my steering wheel for my GPS on my phone and everything. And there's not a good way to mount it there. There's this coin holder there. And I haven't been able to find a good way to mount anything to it. It's plastic. Nothing will stick to it, right? Because it's a coin holder. And so my first project was going to be to put something there that'll allow me to put my phone on this area. So my thought is there's the cup holder there. I need something that's like the negative. I'm not cup holder. I'm sorry, coin holder. That's the negative of that coin holder. That'll go into it and just stay in there and fit in there snug. And then I bought like a cheap phone holder off of Amazon. And I'm going to take off the one piece that mounts it to something, and I'm going to make an adapter. Basically, one end goes into the coin slot and the other end attaches to this phone holder. Cool. And I'm going to design it in Cinema 4D. And so I needed to measure it. So for $16 on Amazon, I got a what do you call it? Calipers.
Yeah.
So that you can measure the insides and outsides of all the pieces of it. And I went out and I measured it. And then the other thing I wanted too was to be able to really see the whole thing and visualize it and rebuild it in Cinema. So I have a program called what's the name of it? PhotoScan Pro.
Okay.
PhotoScan Pro lets you do photogrammetry. So I went out and I measured this thing, and at the same time I went out with my iPhone and I took a bunch of pictures around it, and brought those back in, and I had it create geometry for that little coin holder, and I brought it in and I exported it, and I took that export as an OBJ file into Cinema, and I lined it up with I kind of had some basic geometry as measurements, and from those measurements I took that photogrammetry piece and kind of placed it where it needed to go. So I had kind of a reference to build around. I have my measurements, I have something to build around just to make sure I'm on the right track, and it's a perfect reference for something like this. I'm not going to use a geometry from the photo thing at all, but it's kind of like doing a 3D scan. It is a 3D scan, I guess. I have a whole point cloud, geometry, the whole bit. So I have this little coin holder just in 3D space, and I'm building the negative of it. So that's where I'm at. I built the basic pieces that would fit into it. A lot of time doing this kind of thing, you need
yourself like a 3D scanner as well. So that you can actually, I don't know, like talking about the phone holder and stuff. I would love to. So in my Jeep, there's a little spot. If you've got hand crank windows, not the automatic windows, where the automatic window like up and down parts, they're actually in the center of your dashboard or something, like right below the stereo. In like the good Jeeps, mine's just a cheap Jeep, so I don't have that. I just have a little place where, but I've always wanted to be able to 3D print something that will fit perfectly in there, and I can connect to my cell phone too. Right. So I'm going to throw something your way to print.
Yeah, should try it. I think that these people sell a scanner too, if I'm not mistaken. But
Oh, really?
using the phone for this is pretty cool. I mean, I'm digging it so far. It's a lot of fun. It's a learning process. I'm sure that there's so much I don't know about it that you could make things go faster for me. But like anything, I mean, like learning cinema or anything else, you just got to experiment and just, see where it goes and read about it and look at videos and get ideas and trial and error, the whole thing, So
Yeah.
my print just finished for my little test piece. My next step would be to finish it out once I know it fits, and maybe make it look pretty. Put a custom text, bevel in it or something, just for fun, just because I can.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the final version on Facebook Live just for fun, but I have a Seek thermal camera. So what's really fun about this is to see all the temperatures and crazy things going on in this box, because you've got a pad that heats up, you've got the extruders that heat up, you got the model that's at different temperatures.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't even think, I saw your Facebook Live yesterday. I don't know why it didn't occur to me that all that stuff would be super, super hot.
Super hot.
Bring it back around.
That's right.
But yeah, it's ridiculous how hot that stuff is.
Yeah, so it's actually kind of nice to have that, because you can see what pieces on the inside are hot and not to touch yet when it's done doing something or in the middle of going. And, so I think the next one, I'm going to stream the thermal camera and a regular camera next to each other as it prints.
That's cool.
That should be fun.
That would be fun.
So I need a time and see how accurate this time is on here, but it seems about right. An hour and 8 minutes.
Gosh, that seems like so long to wait.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably make this one go a little bit faster, but I don't know. I didn't want it to be too off from the final version.
Yeah.
It is a long time to wait. This particular piece was actually pretty big.
That's what she said.
So, so a lot of fun. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some people out there who are already doing it, who are probably screaming at the radio because I'm doing a horrible job of explaining it. But
it's all right. That's every week.
That's what I've learned so far. And as the nice part about it, as a Cinema 4D person, as a 3D person, I don't have to learn that part of it.
Yeah.
I already had to know how to model stuff.
Yeah, that is really nice.
And all of that. So it's just a matter of learning how to use the printer. The rest of it's easy. So
cool.
Yeah. So
all right, I need another break. I'm sorry.
Jeez. All right, so now that you're back from your break, I can say that I have pulled this thing out of the printer. Learning experiences already. Number one, it's really cool how it does the shell.
I can't see.
Over Skype here, if you can see. There we go.
Okay,
So that's the shell, and then what came out of it, it makes it easier to kind of take it out. My daughter is going to love these shells because she'll do all sorts of crafts with them. So I should save this. The thing I'm noticing, and it might be a product of doing like the lesser inside stuff, but the parts that weren't touching the ground when it started, the parts that were slightly off the ground didn't have a good base to start on.
Oh yeah, they're all spaghetti,
so they're a little mangled. Yeah. So that's something for me to think about in the next run. I should just change the bools so that they're all flat, or I could, turn the whole thing on its side to print.
Oh yeah.
And then that way the lines will be going a different direction as well.
Yeah.
So that's another possibility. But I mean, otherwise, like the bevels came out, as I planned. I have 1 millimeter bevels on them, and they're there. That's great. The spacing is here. This is enough. This piece here is enough for me to put it into the holder in the car and
see
just
if it works.
If it fits.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's gonna be the test, just to make sure it fits, and then I can extend the pieces down and do whatever after that. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. And I mean, even at 10%, like I'm feeling this, it's super super solid right now.
Yeah.
So, good start right there. So that's phase number 1. So anyway, let's talk about this this awesome Reddit thread that came up this week that was severely entertaining. And I think Sage kind of wanted us to kind of help him out with this a little bit.
Well,
and just
okay,
put
so the
word
whole
out
reason
here.
I saw it, because I'm a bad moderator of the Cinema 4D subreddit, and I've decided I've decided my year, whatchamacallit, my New Year's resolution is to be a much better moderator, and like start commenting more and actually participating more, because I feel like I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit. So I noticed that Sage had mentioned to David, to, hey, can you put your input on this? And so I looked at the Reddit post, because I like checking up on Sage and David and what they're doing, because anyway. And so I was looking at the Reddit post, and oh my gosh, I instantly started to rage. And then you texted me like a few minutes later, and I was like, yeah, you talking about how much you were raging. So anyway, go on. You want to read it or whatever?
Yeah, but I do. Let me just add a completely off-topic thing while I'm thinking about it real quick. It just got even more response to people asking that they want an Octane tutorial on doing bottles and stuff.
Okay.
Because somebody just replied, they says, as someone who's worked in Octane for over a year now, these videos have taught me some beginner stuff I never even knew about, referring to our other videos. And so they're wanting that. It's the first one. I'm doing it this week, Matt.
Yeah.
Doing it
That's
this
good.
week.
Good. We're going to bust out some tutorials over the next few weeks.
Yes. If we both do 10, that will give us a lot.
I know.
And I think if you do some that are small and not complicated, you could do 10. But,
yeah.
Let me go to this because I don't even know where. The problem is it had 0 upvotes. It was just like
I'm surprised it doesn't have negative.
I don't know if you can go negative.
You're not supposed to downvote.
But it isn't relevant.
It's not relevant. Well,
yeah.
I mean, it is. He's asking for free work.
Where the heck is the thread? Hold on. Jeez. That's the problem, is now I can't find it because it was...
Well, I've saved it on my
buried.
computer.
Yeah, I took screenshots of it just in case, but I thought, maybe I could just find it. 5 days ago, 0. No. Okay, here's the reply one. I'm going to open that in another thread.
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm so prepared here.
Sorry.
Here it is, searching for a music video animator. All right, I'll just read the top of this. There's so many responses. We'll just talk about them in general. But here is...
And we're reading this. We're reading this not to, kind of like point fingers at this guy or whatever. But it is a learning experience for really anyone in this industry and stuff. Like...
This is the person that you don't respond to because it will not go well.
Yes.
And if you're new, you're gonna be like, oh, but no.
Every single person who is experienced, who has had, many years of experience, will tell you and has made the mistake of, doing this, of being the person who has helped out this person.
Right. And
so all we're trying to do is bring awareness to don't be that guy or girl.
Exactly.
Like don't get yourself into a situation that could be bad like this. So go ahead.
Right. Dave. Okay, so this is what it reads. Hello, everybody. The subject is searching for a music video animator. Hello, everybody. I would like to hire an artist who can create a music video animation for a new song I produced. I do not have any requirements. The artist can be creative as much as he wants to be. The product should be delivered, if possible, in 4K or at least full HD. 4K takes a long time to render. I have no specific deadline date declared. If you are interested in collaborating, I will send you a download link for the song. Payment, : As I see this project as a collaboration where both of the collaborators have something to offer, I would not pay the artist money. I would offer you social media range, which is also quite valuable. 1,000 reliable followers on SoundCloud and Instagram. If you are interested, send me your show reel video, portfolio, or work as a JPEG to, and then goes the, okay, first of all, how do you send your video as a JPEG?
Oh, man. I didn't see that part. That's hilarious.
Yeah, so there's so many things wrong with this. Number one, it's so bad it almost feels like trolling.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's number one, right? I like, and the responses therein feel almost like it is somebody on a massive troll. But when you look through this person's history, they are a music quote unquote producer who makes beats.
Did you listen to any of their music?
No, I haven't been able. I didn't really look for that, but I was just looking at the Reddit history, and so this is a person who does that kind of stuff. Whether or not it's good, I have no idea. And the thing too is that there is a submission process that is in the about section, in the rules section for the subreddit, that he is completely broken. He didn't read that. He didn't follow any of that at all. So first of all, Sage of Shadow said something, good luck with your request, but here's my advice. Exposure dollars aren't really a real thing. Most established quality animators don't need exposure dollars. Keep in mind, you'll have absolutely zero creative control over this if you have this arrangement. And so on. And just put in his 2 cents just to kind of give the lay of it and all. And a lot of people agreed with that. And
Sage,
whatnot.
Here's one thing I got to say about Sage, and I gotta just give a huge amount of praise for him, because he gets down and dirty, and goes through the mud and deals with all the really crappy people on the subreddit, like, with just a very open mind, and he is so polite to just about everyone. Like,
it's really hard not to just completely bash this person.
He is probably the best sub moderator to have, specifically because he is so good at like pointing people in the right direction and or answering questions or whatever. He is on the ball nonstop.
Right. And you really, this is like the worst kind of post you want in here. And if the person understood after you explained it, that would be one thing. But I mean, because I could see someone coming in from a corporate area and posting this, and then you explain it to them, and they're like, "Oh, okay, I get it, I understand." But this guy didn't understand. To an extreme level. To this is a cliche of the person who is like this.
Yes.
Like it's that's, I guess, the only way I can describe it. This is a I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, go on. I was super angry that, like, anyone, first of all, you just don't ask for free work, you don't ask for free work. Especially like, and Sage mentioned, if you're going to talk about, us sending you the reel, or you want people to, do your music video, at least put your music up there for us to hear it.
Right,
it's not like,
right.
Oh, I want to collaborate, even though I've never even heard what it sounds like. It could just be like 12 minutes of pure farts,
Right, exactly. And you don't even know. And so the one thing that he said was, and of course, this other person said 4K is a very big ask too. But the first response that this guy had is, well, if the video hit over 1 million views and the artist is linked in the video description, I personally believe that he will be spammed with requests to make money. The 4K resolution is maybe a bit too much if the animator uses heavy materials and render settings. That's why I wrote if possible. Well, that doesn't even make sense, especially if you're using Octane. Because it doesn't matter. It's just the pure resolution is the reason it takes so long. I'm convinced that it will hit at least 100K views. For me, this is worth more than $1 to $4K dollar. I also want to submit the music to several music blogs, so they write articles about the music and artists, or even release it on their website. for even more exposure. Thank you both for your kindness and help. And you responded.
I basically told him, I said, we recently just did a job for The Rock, and it got almost 3 million views, which was awesome. Yep. But that, not a single person, we haven't gotten a single job from that, and it just, it doesn't matter. Hits really don't matter. And it's something that you don't realize when you initially start just posting stuff. Like when you and I started posting tutorials on YouTube, we're like, oh man, this is getting 1,000 hits. Oh man, can you imagine if we got 10,000 hits? Then we got 10,000 hits, and we got one that has 30,000 hits, and it's like, oh man, we're gonna make so much money. We're gonna get so much exposure, and it doesn't. It's not. No, hits don't matter.
Right. You'll die of exposure.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't matter at all. Because
what do you call it?
And it's not gonna make you any money. The reason we do Brograph is because we like it, and it's a way for us. One video is not going to go viral,
Right.
Right. You have to put in the work. That's the thing. And we have grown Brograph from, just a little tutorial site to the podcast to like kind of a brand. But we didn't do it with one video. We did it over the course of 4 years.
And it's still not that big in comparison to the other players out there.
It's not.
And the thing is that, like you said, the one we did for The Rock, 2.6 million views or whatever. I think that got us about 40 hits to our website because it was linked in the description. Mm-hmm. And not one person has called out of 2.6 million people to flood us with requests to do more video stuff or animation. Because that's not how it works. Those 2.6 million people are not people who are looking to get videos done. They're people who are there to be entertained. They're watching it on Facebook. They're watching it on YouTube, Twitter links. They're looking at Instagram stuff, and they're like, haha, that's funny. Heart that. Watch that. Like that. That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Upvote that. It's done. Yeah. They don't look at the description. They couldn't care less. They don't want to come and say.
The only time I ever look at a description on YouTube is if it's if there's a link in the description of something that I want to go to,
Right, and there's no quality. Like, okay, this person if it's the type of music I'm thinking it is, just by looking at this, which is like, maybe electronic, like ELM stuff, or beats of some sort or whatever. If somebody is going to listen to this music and watch a video, maybe they're watching, maybe they're doing drugs, whatever it is, they're just getting their beat on or whatever, or maybe they're not. Maybe they're driving in the car and they want good music, or maybe they like this artist and they want to hear more of the music, so they put on this song and this music video. What in the world is going to make them say at the end, you know what? I want to know who made that video so that I can hire them to do a video as well and click on that. And even if you got one of those people out of a million.
In their defense or whatever, you did the exact same thing when you were watching Zed, but it was Zed. It wasn't some random no-name artist who did some, whatever in his thing.
But that's because I already knew who the artist was.
You already knew it was Beeple.
Yeah. That's the only reason. I wanted to see if it was Beeple, and because I was in the industry. But again, I didn't hire Beeple to do anything based off of that.
We just love Beeple for who he is.
Right. And so I just, I don't know. I don't think that happens. Everyone acts like that's how it happens, and that's going to be everybody's big break by doing something big. That's not how it works. Most of the big projects that we have gotten have all been through word of mouth, people we know, that kind of thing. Someone who knows. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Yeah. And so to move on in that section,
I actually thought about responding to him and like getting his music, and then just like, I don't know, 3 minutes of straight turds dropping from off screen, just right into a big pile. And that's the thing. Like they said, if you're asking for free work from people, you will have zero creative control. I think that was what Sage said, And here's the thing. So if you're guaranteeing me 1 million hits, you know, and I provide you with a music videos that is just turds falling off screen into a big giant pile of turds, you know, you're guaranteeing me 1 million hits. So, but if you don't like that giant turd sandwich that is falling from the screen, you know, oh, you're not going to use it? What, you don't like my turds? This is what I made for you.
Yeah, that's my payment, is all the views.
Yeah. So, and it's like, it's so stupid.
It's the theoretical dollars from South Park.
Yeah.
And then what this guy also said in response to somebody, you know, he said, and from the point of view of saying, quote, it's us doing the favor for you and not the other way around. That's just disrespectful. I think that both sides put in a lot of work. It should be appreciated. I did not ask for free work, and I did not ask for a professional artist who could be working for Walt Disney. Anyway, thank you for your comment. I think David responded him to as well, because basically, let's see, what he said was, well, first of all, he said basically Sage just said it all. He also brought up the thing that we did for the rock
thing.
And, you know, he said, in a similar vein, I've worked closely with a successful YouTube channel, AV-Byte, to do a Star Wars Harry Potter mashup. I was also promised exposure since they're well-established, consistently get over 1 million views.
I remember David talking about that. He's like, yeah, I took a little less money, but, you know, they were talking that they were going to make, you know, because all their videos are getting like 1 million hits or something.
Right.
But they released this one on a secondary channel and ended up only getting like... 20,000 hits or something like that.
But he got a lot of exposure, especially through an NAB last year. You know, that was a really cool thing to show.
Yes.
But he also did get paid for it.
But not because of the hits from the
video.
It was him actually going out and showing Andrew Kramer, hey, you did Star Wars, I did Harry Potter Star Wars.
Right. And he did a good job at it, too.
Yes.
You know, so all you have to do then, if that's the case, just make something that looks good, and you'll get hits. Who cares if you're doing it? That way, that way you can do whatever you want. You can make your turds falling from the sky, and just do it yourself.
I think I have an idea for the show art.
There we go. Now I already have the show art, but we'll do some turds next week.
Don't we always?
You know, so he talked about that. You know, you said, I think maybe I said all good points, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, what happened later on is later on in the day that night, and it was actually, I caught this like 10 minutes after he posted it. He made another post in Cinema 4D subreddit. I think he got lots of personal messages probably from people. And so he said, the subject of this post was, sadly, here are some really cocky people. I think he meant to say there. Sadly, there are some really cocky people. And then in the sub line, he just said, I feel like Cinema 4D artists just charge way too much. And it's like, what? So I, in my personal account, said, no, they don't. It's very hard work at times, and people need to make a living. If you're good at it, you deserve money for the schooling, the hard work, the countless hours, the practice. If you don't believe this, then I suggest you spend a week trying to learn it and make something that looks as good as any of the top artists out there. So now here's the rest of the discussion, which is below comment threshold, -5 points for him. What's funny is all his stuff in the thread is like -5, 6 points, and mine is all positive 6 points.
That's funny.
He says, that may be true, but recently had discussions with beginners and they charge $1 to $3K for a simple music animation. And I said, that's the problem. What you think is simple probably isn't.
Yeah.
If you could, then you'd probably just do it yourself. I said $1 to $3K is a very low price for something like that. With an average beginner salary at about $4K a month, 3K would be 3 weeks of work. So I guarantee you a music video would take three weeks to accomplish at least. So again, I urge you to try it for yourself if you think it's that easy, and then get back to everybody about it. I said, I saw the discussion earlier. You think people are willing to work for free. They can create their own exposure without working for free. Oh, and while you're at it, would you be willing to work for free for someone else for a month under the promise of exposure that wouldn't pay off. That line of doing it for the exposure has been used over and over again and is a joke in our industry because everyone knows it never really pays off. If you don't get paid for your work, you'll die of exposure. So I said, I suggest you watch this video. And then I linked to that video, which is from Zulu Alpha Kilo. It's the Say No to Spec deal.
Yeah.
Where the guy's asking people to like cut his hair, and if he likes it, then he'll pay him for it.
Yeah, you should put that in the show notes just because it's funny.
Yeah, that'll definitely be in the show notes. It's a really great comparison. And then he said, I will do it for myself. I've been working in Cinema 4D for 4 years, and I kind of know what's simple and what's not. $3K for 3 weeks for a beginner? On what planet do you live, dude? And I'm like, the planet
for 3 works for a beginner
for 3 weeks,
and he thinks that's too much
high.
money.
Yeah, and I said I live on the planet where that's my starting salary. When I was like, I said entry level for this stuff is like $4K a month. I said if you think that's a high number and you know Cinema 4D as well as you say you do, I think you should try and get a job as a Cinema 4D artist.
Seriously.
I said, if you know it that well, I encourage you to make it yourself and post the results. Think about how long it took you and how much you would have charged, then put it online and track the results. See how many people contact you about top dollar paying gigs. That would be the true test, wouldn't it? Yeah. And he said, that's what I'm going to do.
I hope he does. I would love to see us all be wrong.
I would love to see that. And see how many people contact him about it. And I also said, I have an upcoming project as well. Are you interested in creating some music for it? It's a 10-minute long abstract that needs a completely original score. I'm going to put it on YouTube.
What did he say?
Back. And then I didn't hear back. And then like 3 days later, I put, are you interested in working on it? Like nothing.
That's so
I
funny.
Heard nothing back. And
I should contact him like anonymously through SoundCloud and say, hey, I heard your music. I really like it. I'm a 3D artist. I was wondering if you'd be willing to score my entire thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, people on here were like talking to him. They're like, you look like a complete idiot. And he's like, some people are mad in here. Can't face the truth.
Oh,
and Sage's Shadow is like, I think this is the most ironic statement I've ever seen in this sub. And I'm like, yeah. I said, the truth is that you're the guy in that video and somehow don't realize it. Sage said, out of curiosity, how much do you think a Cinema 4D artist should charge? He didn't answer.
Yeah, see, that's what I'd like to know. I like to know what he thinks we are worth.
Right. Like this guy said, day rate for a MoGraph artist, depending on their location, can be anywhere from $400 to $800 for a day.
Yeah.
You're not only paying for the time they spend on previs, design and animation, but render time that keeps them from working on other projects. You have to pay artists what they're worth, or and so the guy's like, true, but a beginner is not worth $400 a day. Maybe for a project like mine, but not a single day.
When I was a beginner, I was almost getting paid that. I was around $350 a day. And
that's then, still, of course,
that's still a lot of money.
This person too, he's like, why would you want beginner work anyway?
Yeah.
Are
you basically saying that your music is beginner music?
Right. He was like, this is S'mores Ahoy. He's like, remember that this person's work is representing your brand. Why do you want beginner work?
Yeah.
And, if this other person, B. Marl, says, if the work is good enough to use it, it has value. And then I replied too. I said, yeah, you get what you pay for. And you're not paying for anything. So you're going to get turds falling from the sky. And it's just really funny. Like the funny part about this, assuming it's not trolling, which it still might be, is that this person is so completely oblivious to what he sounds like coming in like this. I'm gonna do a music video. Let's put it this way.
I'm sure
I'm gonna do a music video.
I'm sure
it's gonna
be
like shot.
13 years old.
Right.
I'm
probably.
Sure he's like 13 years old.
But it's like you're going to shoot a music video, and everybody in the music video is going to have a nice haircut. and you're going to put a link to the stylist in there. How many people watching that video are going to say, man, everybody has such great haircuts in here. I have to know who in the world cut everybody's hair.
Right.
So I can go to that hairstylist.
Right.
Those people don't give a crap.
No.
They don't. They don't give a crap.
No.
You have to go out there and create your own exposure and not rely on others.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree. Even nowadays, music videos, like good music videos, people still don't even care who directed it, who wrote it. You know? They're just going to listen to the music. You know?
Totally.
Like, unless you're Michel Gondry or a Chris Cunningham, you know? Spike Jones.
Yeah. So
anyway.
All right. Well,
Did you
there's
freeze?
some other stuff.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
No, I'm here.
You like totally froze. I was like, oh no, his computer crashed.
No. Some other things we can talk about real quick before we get to email. Arnold put out a link to their GPU prototype, a screenshot of a side-by-side CPU versus GPU, and you can't notice the difference, really.
Nope.
No, and they said if you don't know which is which, that's good.
Yeah, and so someone asked if there's time, you know, we'd love to know the time, and they said it's changing so quickly, you know, with all the updates that we're doing, that they don't want to put out any times, which is good.
Yeah.
Which is really good.
But the thing is that this officially means that they are developing it.
I mean, I knew they were developing it. You know,
you did know they were developing it?
I did. Yeah, Chad had talked about them mentioning it at like SIGGRAPH or something like that. They showed off something at SIGGRAPH, but they haven't officially, like, I don't know.
Yeah. Here's the thing. To me, as an Octane artist who is very interested in Arnold but doesn't have the computing power for it, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait it out until it's good to go, and I'm going to give it a full go when it comes out. I'm not going to try these other ones. I might mess with cycles just for fun, but I'm not really going to get into anything else because I have a really big feeling that everybody is going to be fully on board with Arnold when this happens.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think Octane is going to... that's going to be a run for their money.
I loved Redshift while I was using the beta. My beta just went away December 15th. I hope that means something good, like, you know, it's going to be released soon or something. But I don't know. It's good. It's a really solid beta. I only crashed it maybe once.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering, like, as far as, like, how much control... I know that, like, Arnold, there's so much control.
There's so much control in Redshift, too. You really should have given it a try when I had it.
Yeah, I just didn't have a chance. It was during our crazy busy period, and I didn't have a chance. But that's something I think. Man, I just have this feeling that Arnold GPU is just going to blow everything out of the water.
Yeah,
I really think so. And the people that already have it are already crazy about it, and it's not even GPU yet. It's just going to be. I don't know. I really think that's going to be the way to go, and we'll see if Octane does anything to really up the game. But I doubt it.
Yeah.
The way that they're going right now.
I don't know. Like,
and it's the customer service, like Arnold customer service. Like Chad has talked about that, about how great those people are and how much they actually care about the artists.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Like 3.1 could come out and then just like blow everyone away. But like, I don't feel they're at 3.05 right now. And that's, you know, that's taken them almost a year to get there.
Yeah,
so
they did say, you know, that 3.1 is going to be like just like basically like 4 in a way. You know, it should have been. They actually should have done it that way and just said that that's 4, not 3.1.
Yeah,
because it really is 4 when you think about it.
Yeah,
maybe they'll change their mind and change the numbering.
Maybe I don't know.
Of course, having 3.1 on that actually means that if we get a 3.1, we don't have to pay for it, and it's like having a full version.
Hopefully they don't charge us an upgrade price.
Not for 3.1. I don't think they would.
I don't know.
This was just posted today on Cinema 4D Octane sub, and I think it's good enough to put a link out there for it. This is a completely free iPhone 6 Cinema 4D model. I wish it were an iPhone 7.
Yeah, there's actually, I think there's a 5S as well on there.
Textured and everything in Octane, so like and it's really detailed and looks really nice.
Yeah.
And so I just thought we'd put it out there for people to try out. I mean, there's a lot of times where you need a phone and you're like,
Yeah.
"God, I need a good phone to."
And you don't
put
want
in
to pay
this thing I'm working
$60 for one off a Turbo Squid and then have to retexture it for Octane or whatever.
Right.
That's if
this
you're
is just
using
good to
Octane.
go. And then you sent me the link zomax.net/free stuff.
Yeah, someone did a still life on the subreddit today, or they said it turned into a still life, and someone was like, "Oh, I wonder what he used for the condensation on the windows and stuff." And I was
lemons.
like, "Oh, he probably just used a cloner object." And blah, blah, blah. And he's like, "No, I just used a displacement map. You can find it on Cornelius Damerage's page." It's like,
Yeah, this is Cornelius who
I don't
did
know
the
what
famous
I'm talking about. 52
the
hertz.
52 hertz astronaut floating out of the phone booth thing.
Who started the
that everybody
whole
uses.
astronaut floating in nothingness. I don't know.
Yeah, so
Now, you want to talk about exposure dollars.
yeah,
Cornelius
seriously.
Dammerich, I would like to know how much work he is getting off of that, because it is being used everywhere.
Yeah. It's the video. I mean, I'm sorry. It's the still for the promos for the Cinema 4D Roadshow.
Uh-huh.
It's the still for the log on screen of Octane.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
He's
that's pretty
got to
good.
be making some money off of that.
Oh yeah, totally.
So,
So, all right, what else we got here before we wrap? If you're listening to this, you'll probably be if you're listening right away, which is tonight, Tuesday night, or Wednesday morning. I believe 1-ish in the afternoon. I don't know what time zone that's in. You'll have to check this out. Beeple will be on the Ash Thorpe show, podcast, stream,
the
live stream, something.
creative podcast or whatever.
Something like that. I'm going to get you the details here.
And if you
Stand by.
haven't watched the Beeple Ashthorpe Vimeo video of him presenting, like, it was probably a couple years ago. Oh my gosh, watch it. He is hilarious.
It's the Learn Squared live. It's going to be 1 p.m. Pacific tomorrow.
Okay.
And it says, come join us this Wednesday. Master People will be joining the stream to share some magic and talk about butts and stuff.
Oh man, I love Beeple.
Yeah. And we got to get him on.
We do.
He said he would. We just got to work out the deets.
The deets.
So the deets. So does that? Yes, that wraps it up into the email social segment. We have 2 emails we wanted to talk about. Number 1 was Nick Walagorski, who subject line was Oculus Touched.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, bros? I was the dude who traveled the 2 hours plus for the DC Roadshow.
You my boy.
It was great meeting you. I've been implementing tips I learned from David's presentation since then.
Dude,
I've
me
also,
too. Me too.
I've also been using Luminous on a bunch of projects since I picked it up. So here's a sample. He sent a bunch of samples.
Just
I'll make sure
fantastic. Thank you
can
so
post
much.
those.
1 for buying it, and 2 sending us the examples. If you
Yeah,
guys have purchased
we gotta do that
Luminous,
real.
our Octane Spotlight plugin for Cinema 40, send us whatever you're working on. We'd really love to see it. Mm-hmm. It's really great to see, like, stuff that we're creating, that you're creating, using stuff that we're creating.
And we've gotten some. I need to start like a little database thing going.
Yeah.
He said, I was just listening to the latest podcast. I hear you guys are enjoying the Rift. I've been having so much fun with mine the past couple months. So much more since the Touch came out. Super Hot has changed my perspective on life. Medium and Quill really got my creative juices flowing. We need to ask him how he got it working.
I'm seriously jealous that you can actually try those, because ours crash every single time. I can't get Medium or Quill to work on either of them.
Mm-hmm. I get these
And it
OpenGL
sucks
errors
because it's like you pay all this money for, and I can't get the climb to work either.
Me
It's
neither.
like all these
What
games.
is the deal?
I don't know.
We both have the same exact ones
Yeah.
crashing: Quill, Medium, and the Climb.
Yeah, and
We have different
which is-
computers, different motherboards,
Yep.
different graphics cards.
Mhm. I don't know.
What is the deal?
I have no idea. It's
There's
probably
gotta be
Octane.
one-
I bet you it's Octane.
Right.
I'm serious.
I don't see how.
It could
I don't
be.
see how that's even possible.
I don't know.
But, yeah, Medium and Quill really got my creative juices flowing. I've been. Oh, and what I want to do once I get Medium working, you can export OBJ.
And then 3D print them.
and then 3D Pro.
Nice.
That's gonna be
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah, that will be sweet.
So medium and quill, and then I've been looking for someone other than the the people to team up with for some gaming. Dead and Buried and Unspoken, and he gave us his username. That's Nick. We're going to add you to our deal
Today.
Yeah, and we're gonna play. My wife is actually getting home late tonight. My kid's at the grandparents' house, and
Nice.
I think it's time for us to go play some video games.
Totally.
After this show, because this is like a weird time of recording.
Yeah.
In the middle of the day. And then David Ubergang, Ubergang, I hope that's right, said Python Cinema 4D via recent podcast episode. I know some Python. I'm a Cinema 4D user. I'm relatively experienced in both, but have a wealth of resources to go to, including some close friends. Coding isn't my strongest point. Am I good at selling you yet? But if you're still interested, then
let me know. This could be a good.
This could be a good side project. If not, I understand.
It's
Keep going
great
with
for
the podcast.
exposure dollars.
Right. Now, see, our thing on that is we are looking to pay somebody.
Yeah.
So somebody who is willing to get paid maybe the meager amount we can and share in the profit. I think that's completely different. Because there are people who are willing to.
We can actually show that we can make a profit.
Right. And on top of that, I think that we should start talking and putting the word out there. And this might apply to some of his friends as well, but people who can do programming for stuff like what do you call it, for Unity, Unreal Engine, all of that stuff, because we have some great ideas and we can build all of the stuff needed for the game. We just need the programmers.
Totally.
Man, I had
a great game in mind. A super relaxing game for Oculus.
See, we got to keep it all secret.
It's secrets.
We're gonna be millionaires.
Yeah.
I could see in the future, like the two of us and David together, getting together and make some really epic game and share in the profit. It'd be fun. So
we got a lot of big stuff coming up this next year. You guys will be surprised. We've got a lot of things in the work, and one thing that we've been working on in particular that I feel like is going to be the big thing for our entire industry. And that's what we're hoping for. So, and
some really cool things that are we're going to announce later that we just you got to love that whole D-bag Twitter thing. Like, got some really cool things coming up.
Yep.
Can't tell you about it though. But really, we got some.
The thing is, we're super excited about it, and we would love to tell you everything. But it's one of those things where don't count your chickens before they're hatched. So
right, exactly.
We're really hoping
we don't want to sound stupid if it doesn't work out.
Yeah. Hey, bros! Remember that thing that you guys are talking about? The really big stuff? Oh yeah, that never pan through. It was step 1, steal underpants. Step 2, step 3, profit.
Yeah. So we're just in the stealing underpants phase.
Right now we're in stealing underpants phase.
Yeah.
We need about tree fitty.
About true fitty. You at least start about 2.5.
I gave him $1.
So he also says, keen for Redshift, less Rick and Morty jokes because I don't get them.
Oh man, you're missing out. Okay, you know what, Dave?
You know what that means? You just have to watch it.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You need to put the thing in.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, for those of you who have seen Rick and Morty, Dave is going to put this in the show notes. It will completely, like, you talk about how super hot VR changed your whole perspective on life, dude. This is going to change your whole perspective on life. Like, it is so good. It's so good. Like, it's a whole Rick and Morty, overview. It's
a giant theory, which is really seems like it's correct based on the evidence.
I mean, it's just a cartoon, But
right, but as far as figuring out what the creators have in mind as their overall theory behind the whole thing, it's really, really good.
Yeah.
So,
anyway.
but yes, David, yes, we are interested in talking to you. I'm going to send you an email, and we're going to connect because we have some stuff we'd like to talk about, and at least kind of see if anyone's interested in doing something where it's a kind of a breakthrough and a first for all of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As something that we can do together. We're not offering exposure dollars.
Mm-hmm. You will get exposure,
promises.
but not
you will
exposure
get
dollars. It may equal nothing.
But we are offering some real dollars in exchange of what we can do. So we just got to see, like, what are people willing to, willing to do for a certain amount of money. That's really all it is.
What would you do for a certain amount of money?
That's the right way to do it, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
We're not asking you to go down on your price. We're asking, what will you do for this much money?
Yep.
And would you like to share in some profit?
Yep.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
So that wraps it up.
Cool. We had no additional reviews. Review us. Give us a review on iTunes if you want.
Totally. We need reviews. You can rate us on iTunes, leave a review to boost our ratings as well.
Mm-hmm.
You can subscribe to us to boost our ratings. The newsletter is I should do a newsletter here pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
And you can say you've been there, done that, done that, got the t-shirt with the No Brograph, No Mograph tee, and then the Paul Babb 2020 Feel the Babb t-shirt, which profits go to Doctors Without Borders.
We need Paul Babb more than anything right now.
Yep. Let's see, we've got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, Brograph.com, and we've been working on the Twitch stuff. We're going to do some live stuff next year. So we're kind of testing a few things just to see what works and what doesn't.
Huge things coming next year.
Sucks, but big things coming on that. And so it should be a lot of fun.
Yep.
So until next week, I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
Have a good one.
Later, bros.
It's pretty good, I guess. Brograph.com, an online resource for learning critical components of Cinema 4D and After Effects, specifically catered to help you prevail as a motion graphic designer.
What's up, bros? Welcome to another Brograph motion graphics tutorial.
We give you professional time-saving tips, shortcuts, and lessons that help give you an edge over your fellow designers. Not only this, but our new Brograph Talks help you in your file management, hardware configuration, and client relations.
I love projects that scare me. When our art director comes to us and asks for something that I had never done before, man, it gets me pumped.
Join us for live sessions, check out our crazy Cinema 4D experiments, or just watch our Fun with Brograph series, where we show you practical applications for techniques learned in previous tutorials. Do this from the beginning, and your client is going to respect that, and they're going to respect you, and they're going to respect your time. Subscribe today and get automatic updates on the latest tutorials, tricks, tips, and inspiration brought to you by industry professionals Dave Koss and Matt Milstead, all with a slight dash of dry humor peppered in. Real nice banana.
Brograph.com, your source for tutorials that will help you thrive in the motion graphics industry. Don't just play around with Cinema 4D and After Effects, master it, and make money by becoming indispensable at your workplace.
We don't care how you get here, folks. Just get here. Subscribe now to Brograph Tutorials. It's pretty good, I guess.